So yes, thank you for coming over to the Psychology Channel today at Blue Sky, you guys. I am Coach Becky, and I kind of came to Blue Sky in the last month from a different space. I have been a futures trader for almost 5 years now, and I host Market Mamas, which is a trader psychology podcast. And so that is my favorite, is talking all about everything psychology, because I feel like that's what was a game changer for me to help me find some stability and strength in this game of day trading, and success as well. So every Tuesday at market close, I'm going to be bringing a different conversation to talk about things that have really been powerful for me as a trader, and that I think might bring value to anyone else in this game. And last week, I want to just do a special thank you to RQ for asking a really great question. He asked about what my experience was with quitting, if I felt like I ever wanted to stop being a trader. And that was a 100% yes. And it was really a very hard time for me. And it was such a big conversation, a big question, that I figured it was worth a session for sure. So I kind of want to talk all about that today, and I'll kind of ask some of your guys' feedback throughout as well, because I don't think that this is a rare situation or question to work our way through. So I'm so thankful for your question, RQ, because I'm still figuring out, where to go with all of the potential topics that we're bringing about. So I love it when you guys ask me questions, because it helps give me some guidance too, and the direction to kind of get deeper into all of this with you guys. So as I said, my name is Becky. I started trading in the spring of 2021. So I'm just past 4.5 years. And I think this topic, if you've been trading long enough, honestly, if you've been trading more than a month, really, right? You've been punched in the face by the market at least once. You guys know what I'm talking about? I guess that's what we're here for, right? Because you probably do. All right. So I think it's probably relatively unanimous today. Yeah. See what I mean? It's a very common occurrence. So, and this quote just kind of is a great point. Everyone's a genius in a bull market. And that's not to say the trading bull markets is the easiest thing ever, but when the market is given easy home runs or you're finding early success, there's a period where you can think that trading is easy, right? You can get distracted by the appeal of potentially just making it nice and smooth. But I think that's everyone finds a market that makes them feel like they're a genius for a minute, and then she will humble you. That's the way it goes with trading, and how many times you're humbled and to what extent and how you respond to it is something to think about. All right, so let's get into what it looks like when trading gets really hard. I think it's good to get early wins, but then you'll start to experience that it's not always easy. There is both the emotional and the financial lows that you'll experience as a trader. I think that you learn enough to be able to execute trades. You fund an account, you buy an account, and you eventually, in the early months, you learn enough to be dangerous, how to execute trades, to think that you know what a good trade setup is. And then you start trading. But then even when you think you have a strong, stable system, the stress test to that system will come, right? The market will shift, something will go on in your world, emotional triggers will derail you from your stable stance, and you will fall off the wagon per se. And your early winning streak, if you got one, will end. And then it's just going to suck. Honestly, it's going to be hard. There's going to be a period where you're not sure if you have an edge, if your edge was real, what that actually looked like, what of it was valid and what wasn't, because you often in that phase don't really even fully know what the good parts were that are sustaining that you need to keep and what is throwing you off that you need to get rid of. And so navigating that hard season is a big deal. I'm going to have to keep a closer eye on the chat today. Thank you, Mike, for being here. I like to see you. All right, so for me, it was really hard. I definitely had multiple days where I would cry. Oh, yeah.
Do you have slides you're sharing?
Oh, I am saying I'm on slide 3. Huh, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, before you got too deep, I just wanted to make sure to remind you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm recording it. I was focused on recording it to release this after the fact. Thank you so much. All right. Well, you guys didn't miss very much. Yeah, see. That's the overview of what it looks like to be really hard, but we all know this experience. This is my sad face because I definitely experienced that. There's a period where you have to figure it out, and everyone is different. Will they break stuff? Will you break keyboards? Will you cry? Will you, avoid your friends? For me, there was fear and shame. I would lose sleep. I lost money. My accounts were in drawdown. When I started trading, prop firms weren't near as available and supported as they are now. And so I started with a real money pulled from our savings account. And so the losses hit pretty hard there. And so then when I would take a hard loss, it's fun to share the wins. It's super fun to share the wins, especially in the beginning. But the losses, it was hard for me. It was hard for me to share even with my husband or close friends. So there was some embarrassment there, frustration, doubt. I quit doing a lot of hobbies that brought me joy. I backed away from friendships because I wanted to prioritize the market. And if I got in a bad mood from a hard loss, I would skip events that I otherwise would have gone to. And so that really, it impacts your accounts, but it also really, the bigger picture is it impacts your life. And I think that is something to really consider, to know what the whole impact to your whole world is and how you can kind of work through that, because it's a lot to consider. I felt some kind of way when my trades would go really south and the drawdown would get deeper down. And then for me, I would try to flip back to sim, and then, I would go back to real life, and it just took time. It took time to live in that really hard point where it was hard and painful. And for me, that was the end of 2021, when I realized that it was easy to lose. And then most honestly of 2022, I would say there's easily a year and a half, if not almost 2 years of this struggle where I went back and forth with that I'm going to talk a little bit more about, because it does have, it's not a quick fix in my experience. And I don't want to, make it harder to think about, but I want to be real with you guys. I'm not a person who is great at sugarcoating or saying what I don't mean. And so, that's something that I will always bring with you guys here at Blue Sky too, as my reality of what I'm doing. And that I think has brought my psychology conversations more value. I think something is more valuable when you're just really real with it. So that's this topic today is, it's a little bit, it's bringing me back to a period where I definitely cried a lot of times. So why does this happen, right? So there's a little bit of information behind that. What I understand now from my own experience with the aid of hindsight, right? Everything is more clear when you kind of get on the other side of a thing. But in the moment, I thought it was me and I wasn't sure what to do about it. But now I know that it's extremely common. Just everyone in the comments today, even so far, is I get it, this is not, I am not a rare, losing, rough trader. Was a trader who was trying to figure out my life in that role. And so when you can have that hindsight view, you recognize that other people will have similar stories. And it represents a period where you, attempt day trading and you don't stop, but you work through it. And you shouldn't be so hard on yourself for that period, because it's really multifactorial and complicated. Even this slide right here is 3 bullet points of how it can happen. But it's even more complicated than that. The overconfidence leads to revenge trading and emotional decision making. And then you don't know, like I said, if it's your structure doesn't work, your system doesn't work, or it's just you and you're too emotional and you're trigger happy too fast. It's challenging to sometimes root out the cause of exactly what the hardest part is, and then you can get stuck in a cycle of it. And then the tricky part too is that it does cycle, and so you'll have wins, and then the dopamine kicks in with that, and you want to chase those wins, and so then you'll do a little bit more ups and downs. And dopamine cycles in the brain, it's actually very, very powerful. You crave more and more. It's like a high. I'm not a proponent of drugs, but you know what I mean. When you get that high of a great win, you want that back. You want to do that again the next day, and so hunting for the highs and then feeling a low, the swings are really high. The heaviest the swings are is in the first 2 years, I think, of day trading, when the wins are amazing and you want to hunt them like crazy. And then you lose that and more, and the lows are really low. And so then the cascading effect happens, the emotion, the adrenaline rushes. And so it takes a big toll on you, and it takes months to years to really learn what that feels like and to figure out how you can start tamping it down. And so I think, in the time that you're going through this, I would definitely say part of it is you want to have good mentors, often There's an S there. This is plural. You want to reach out to people who can help you start to figure out how to design your trading system. And then you have to refine it over thousands of trades in small size. And through that time, you have to simultaneously be leveling up your emotional and psychological structure. So all this to say that it's a lot. It's a lot that you're working through, feeling the lows, and then trying to figure out how to reorganize your system and move from there. And I would say that even the most idolized successful traders have experienced this. It's within my podcast space that I've consumed other podcasts and interviewed traders that have been traders, 20, 30 years. And they agree with this, that they had this period as well. And it looked different for them based on where they got their start and what the logistics of that were. But they all attribute a period where they definitely wanted to quit and they were embarrassed and didn't know what to do, and they lost a lot of money and they faced judgment from peers. So I think that's where you have to figure out, who might persevere and who might not, and what you can do to get through that. So that's kind of the basis of this whole conversation. And, when I was researching this and thinking about it, we all know the stats that are out there that are hearsay, but this is what the current data is, via the Google search engine. And it's interesting to me to help put this in perspective. So 40% of day traders quit within the first month. I don't think we have anyone here today that quite has that number. I think most people that would attend a class like this will be a trader more than a month. Only 13% are still trading after 3 years. I think that is a big deal. That first month to the first 3 years it's a lot. I think that's the crux of the hardest phase of trading from my experience and the people that I trade alongside. And then after 5 years, just 7% remain active. And so for me, when I did this, I did a little happy dance because I'm very sure that I'm still going to be trading next year. So I'm gonna make that. We're still here, see? You can kind of figure out where you're at in this. And 4% actually earn a living from it. So it's those of you that are in here, kudos on that, because it's not as easy as it sounds. And so, all of our hopes and dreams early on, you have to put it into a perspective, right? Let's be real. I think that the market has to be treated as a professional arena. Most retail traders that get caught up into this, there's a lot of energy of that. But the reality is generally we're undercapitalized, underprepared, and not emotionally completely ready. I mean, we're really most humans, right, don't have to micromanage their emotions to the level that you do if you want to be a successful trader. That's just a fact that I did not appreciate until I got into this role myself. And we don't know what we don't know when we start. And you guys are here today because you're figuring that out too. You learned enough to know that there is room for improvement at a minimum. And if you think about other professional arenas, I mean, just for the ease of a visual, think about boxers in a boxing arena. Say you want to be a boxer, right? You lift weights for a year. You've got really good hype people around you that are like, "Doh, you're going to kill it. Get in there. You can totally do this." So what happens your first time in a boxing arena? For several times. You get your butt handed to you in a very bloody, dramatic, painful way, right? I mean, that's just the outcome. You just don't have the skills, the experience, the stamina, the instincts, the grit, the patience, pure strength, or a faith in yourself from any sort of a winning streak at all. And the only way to gain those things is from a relentless dedication and practice and a willingness to honestly keep taking the hits that hurt you, but that will educate you. That's the only way through it. If your dream is to become Rocky and kill it on the boxing stage, you just have to get hit in the face thousands of times. And that's the same thing with trading. You have to get forged in the fire of pain, but it's doable. The thing is the resilience on that. And that's how a boxing arena is really a very easy comparison to a trading arena. So these numbers don't mean that you should quit. They mean that you need to treat trading like a craft and not a lottery. I work out with a trainer at home, side note. I love her. She's a personal friend. She actually lives in my city. But when COVID hit, she went online. And for me, that works great because I like to be around my office and around my babies. And so anyways, I was working out with her online the other day. And she said something that I can't get over. I actually posted it and stuff. The quote is, "Some will, most won't." And that honestly like really hit home because it's really true. There's a lot of things in life that are really hard, including trading. And the reality is that some will persevere through the hard times, but most won't. And you guys, I want to tell you that we are the some that will. When you show up for the work of it, labs like today and Thursday with Coach Matt and a live stream with coaches and a team that are supportive and take your questions totally openly, answer every single question that I have seen posted within Blue Sky in a live stream or in the chat is answered, and they show up. And so when you trade every day that you can, you listen to your mentors, you ask questions, you size down if you need to, you take a break when you need to, you learn the technical and psychological growth that is necessary to refine you. That is basically, you're taking losses throughout the day, but you're showing up and you're training. You're training time after time, and that's a game changer on these statistics. You're fighting to be the some that will. Most won't, but some will, right? And it's those that do the work, honestly. Like, I'm not sugarcoating it so much. Sorry if I should be, but I think that honesty is the best practice, and doing something every day that moves your ball down the court is how you can get through this. Just time, experience, and moving your ball down the court. You know, I think the odds tell you that perseverance is non-negotiable, right? That's on the slide for a reason. You can't control the outcomes, but you can think about what your coaches advise and what you have seen of people who have made it farther than you have. And a lot of the feedback that they'll give is that to focus on your process, and that you surviving long term is when you can start to separate the emotions and the execution, and you can push yourself slow and steady and make a personal choice to decide to stick with it and kind of face it head on. Challenge accepted, right? Really accept the responsibility that it is of putting in the effort and showing up to it, and be diligent about mastering yourself as much as anything else. The odds show that if you just keep climbing, even if you take time to rest or walk away or take a week off, take a trip off, but you keep putting one foot in front of the other, then you make it up. You make it up. If 13 people make it out of 100, I would be at Target and there's going to be 300 people in that store. Well, 13 times 3 is what? 39? 39 people out of that Target store are going to beat the odds. That's actually a lot. Like 1 out of 39 in the entire Target store is like a good odds. It's good odds. So that's the point, is keep climbing is a big part of this. So the core of this conversation today is, should I quit? It's a big question. So there's a reality in which sometimes quitting is right. I think that is something that is very personal. For me, I had been trading 14 months. It was October, it was like 15, 16 months. October of 2022 when I had it. I had lost enough money. I was pregnant. I think I was pregnant. Yeah. It was a very hard time. I was really fed up and frustrated with everything. I felt like I knew enough and I should be profitable. I was frustrated about my accounts dipping. I was feeling pressure from friends and family. Like, you have a great career as a nurse. Why don't you just lean into that? Like, you can make consistent money there. You get PTO. Your accounts are smaller. You're losing money. And so I actually did quit. I was like, that's it. I need to stop. I should take their advice. They know me. They know that I have this great career. I have a full, beautiful family. It's fine. Oh, I had a newborn. That's what it was. And so I made a post. I told my closest friends, like, I can't do this anymore. I love you. I want to follow your training journey. I support you. And I'm not even going to lie, you guys. I couldn't get out of bed for 24 hours. I just bawled my eyes out. And it was as if I was mourning the loss of a loved one. Like, I felt like my best friend died when I agreed to quit trading. And by the end of the next day, I was pulling up the charts on my phone, and my husband came in, and I was in my bed, tear-stained, a hot mess, looking at the charts. And he's like, what is happening? And I was like, I got to know what's happening with the market. And so then I reached out to my mentor the next day, and I was like, and he knew, like, I did this whole dramatic post, I'm quitting and I love you all and it's going to be great for you. I just can't do it anymore. And literally a day later, I was like, I can't stomach the idea of not trading, because I think I know enough and I want to keep trying. And so I basically, in that moment, like, it was very sad and heartbreaking, but I couldn't handle the idea of not seeing where I could go with it. I needed to say, like, what if I can just start changing little things and I can size down and I can trade in sim for a little while? What if one mindset shift was the game changer for the next growth? And so for me, thinking about not ever trading again, like, I am a person who has some grit and I had time. I'm still young. I'm not young as I once was, but I still have many more years that I want to trade. And so the thought was hitting me, what if in 1 year I could actually be making money? How would that feel? Like, what if I did keep trying? What's the hardest thing if I kept trying? How can I do this safely and ease back into it? Who can I lean into? And that whole period of, like, I had to, like, figure it out, like, ease back in, recognize that I was taking it too heavily. It was impacting me too much. It was changing the way that I was able to show up for my family. And so I had that hard conversation with my closest people. I backed away from some friendships that were really not supportive, and I leaned into trading mentors. And it was a hard period for me, but I think, honestly, facing that question head on and dealing with your situation of your bank account and who you have to support you, and if you can make no money from trading and afford little bits of the cost of the accounts or the resets or trading in sim, can you logistically do it? And then, is your heart still in it? So it's a lot to sort out. And that was, for me, that was, I've debated lots of times, but there was a minute where I did quit, and it lasted 24 hours. I dealt with myself. I decided to, like, buckle in, and that was the last time that I told myself then, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I didn't stop. So yeah, that was a reset period, but I wasn't profitable for, that was October, and my first payout was in July after that. So it was, 10 months of a rebuilding to work through a lot of the psychological. So these are things that I considered in that time, signs that I might need to step away. These are things that I would encourage you guys, if you've ever had this thought or you're in this thought now, something to consider is potentially, have you depleted your essential savings or taken on debt? Like, are you able to maintain your home and your requirements? That is a life thing, right? You need to be able to have a home over your head and high-speed internet at a minimum, right? Let's talk about healthy food, but you also need high-speed internet. You need to be able to fund that. But the emotional parts here are something to think about. If you're trading to get even or prove something, not going to be super helpful. If you've stopped journaling, reviewing, learning, you have a fear in the morning, you're kind of dreading opening the charts, you're fatigued, you're like, think that you need to pull a trade because you're a trader, that is not really the most high energy that you can bring to trading. But if you're considering these and you're on the fence, walking away temporarily can actually be really powerful and can be an act of strength in your journey. You gotta use some time. If you're in the point and you're considering these questions, really do consider them and go inward and think about all of it from all the angles, and only talk to your closest people that really have your back and want your heart to be happy as well as your life. I totally echo what Matt was saying, because you have to prioritize the people that will have faith in you. That helps a lot during this conversation, this inward period. And you can take a week, a month, or even a full season. Like, you're coming up to Christmas, maybe you just want to, like, focus on your family and tune it out for a few minutes and let your heart, your adrenaline, your whole body settle while you think about these choices. Potentially, even if you've got yourself in a financial drawdown, pick up a side gig, get yourself situated, and then come back at it. Taking a break doesn't mean that you're never going to be a trader. It means you need to, like, let your body and your soul chill a little bit and re-stabilize, and then you can come back with a sense of awareness on what you needed to do and what that looks like moving forward. So if you come to this part during this contemplation period, signs that you should keep going. This is what I encountered when I went through this period, as you still have the process of learning. You've shown progress over time. Even if your results are laggy, you've shown that you can understand a great trade and execute it. That is something to think about. And then also, you can separate your identity from your P&L. You're not totally only satisfied if you're green. and that you are dedicated to the whole idea of rebuilding structure and discipline. So, I mean, if this part makes sense, like, you know what I mean? Like, is this you guys? This was me. Most days I have shifted my system since that period, and I have put a lot of energy into building a stable base from which to execute trading from. And in that has been, I have had to regrow a confidence in myself as a trader that is separate from my daily P&L, which was actually more powerful than I thought it was when I didn't really understand that whole idea, is that I wanted to be able to be a successful woman and partner and entrepreneur and have a red trading day and have it not be that I'm not winning in life. It helps so much to have stamina in this game of risk management, to know that a red day doesn't mean that you're not a successful trader. It's a big picture view you have to have. And so having that, you can be more comfortable by not being afraid of those days too. Having that approach will enable you to ask more questions of your mentor and your trading friends and your coaches, so that you can understand a trade that you lost instead of try to bury it and think that it's some sort of a personal thought against you. It has to not be personal. It has to be either I won and it validates this trade setup, or I didn't, I'm not sure what's going on, and I need to ask questions and clarify and get better at this. And I do have to say that Coach Matt and Coach Riz today, I was asking Coach Matt questions about the dollar and how that's correlated to the market, because I have to tell you guys, like Blue Sky obviously brought me on as an additional coach, but I ask questions of Coach Riz and Matt every day that I'm on with them. And that is because of who I have become during this restructuring of my trading career, because I don't have shame anymore on asking questions. If they say something and I see something, I don't quite understand it, I don't want to sit there and wonder and think about if that's something that I should understand. Maybe I should have known that. Maybe I should Google that and not tell them that I don't know this. Like, I don't do that anymore. I am who I am, and if I don't understand something and I think someone else does understand it, I'm going to ask them questions. Because even being a coach here, I don't have to know it all. And I don't have to say that I know it all. And I don't have to pretend that I know it all. Because to think that I did wouldn't actually make me very great in that role, in my opinion. I think that I know a good enough amount about the market to have a profitable trading system overall, but there's a ton that I don't know and I don't understand. And having that growth, constant, curious, forever learner mindset has made me have a more sustainable trading career, because it makes me want to acquire knowledge and growth more than anything else, to know that I'm constantly ever pursuing getting better. And even when I knew way less and I struggled more and I had a lot more questions, starting to transition the ability to answer questions and have that not be something that makes me unqualified, but it makes me still expanding. And that's actually like a really powerful place to be as a trader, because it's embracing the growth potential of it. Such a big topic. I gotta go a little faster even. So this slide I love, because you gotta think about trading as belief versus fantasy. Belief is I can get better through effort and data, and that is grounded in the reality of building a career. But fantasy, if you're just hoping to get lucky next week and you just got to find the lucky break, you got to just figure out when someone says it's going this way and you get all in, not as successful. Belief is grounded in process, and you show up for the perseverance of dialing in your trading setup. And so I think these points are pretty legit, right? You want to be real about the whole process of becoming a successful trader, and that's something you have to decide to do, to show up relentlessly for the learning and the growth of it. And that's what it actually takes to achieve profitability. And there's no amount of wishing or affirming or hoping that you're going to get that lucky break. I mean, I do practice affirmations to varying degrees depending on what's going on in my life, and I think that they're helpful for maintaining a positive mindset, but they alone are absolutely not going to make you a successful trader. Neither are prayers. Prayers are powerful in a lot of ways, but if you're praying for a successful trade, you got to dial in your process and your strategy a little bit more. I mean, prayer can be supportive in everything, but process is what's really going to get you the outcomes in trading that is sustainable long term. So to crave the process of digging into that work is where you want to focus your energy versus just willing it to be true. Okay, so with any of these presentations, I want to bring literal action steps anytime that I can with these conversations that you guys tune in for on Tuesday here at Blue Sky. So these 5 steps that I want to cover are for any trader who is working through a slump. And they're angled at different parts of this that we each need to work through in order when you've decided that you're going to be a trader, where do you go? How do you work through that? Where do you start? And so step 1 obviously has to be to stop the bleeding. You need to take a break from trading to reset your mind mentally. And then you've got to review your losing streak that potentially caused the bleeding without shame and focus on the why. This period of reflection without having risk on can be really powerful for reframing your true situation and how you got to where you are. And so you want to aim to be really honest with yourself during this time, strive to find the root cause of your current challenges. And to do that, you want to journal, meditate on it, talk with your trading friends, coaches, or a trading partner if you have one, really authentically and without shame. And so whatever small group provides you that safety for this period, do that. And then in that situation, really let it all out so that you can deal with it. Deal with whatever got you to this point where you're in this drawdown mentally, financially, emotionally. Because these conversations can bring out such helpful aha moments that could be the root cause that you really needed to uncover to figure out how to reframe when you reapproach. And I think talking to other close traders that you know and that know you, they know your journey a little bit, they know about trading, they understand the passion. That's where a tremendous amount of help can be, because they, they're not going to be quite as critical of you as often we are of ourselves. And they'll likely be honestly more unbiased and have an open view of it all. They can review the areas that you have for improvement that you're voicing to them, but then they can also remind you of how great you are in certain areas, the certain trades that you see most easily and the great qualities that you do bring to your trading, the strong suits that you have and capabilities that you've already built. And so that can help you be realistic with where you're at, not just focusing on the red and the hard parts. And so that, more level view of your situation can be powerful in terms of allowing you to figure out strong suits to keep and then areas to work on. And so that conversation can take you out of the emotion of it and kind of create a game plan of how you need to adjust your system moving forward. So then, after you've had that period where you're not engaging in trading and you're just figuring out how you got to this period where you're feeling these emotions, then you can start to rebuild. And so I think in this situation, you do want to back off your size, because every time you leverage up, it adds a level of pressure to your trades. So shrink down drastically. You can start back in sim or just micros, honestly, is a nice opportunity. A smaller account size, micro trades. Expect lower numbers during this period, both on the upside and the downside, so that you can get back into your edge with the setups that you're really good at, and then start to figure out setups that you need to improve. And during this time, you want to be hyper analytical, journal every trade, journal at the end of every session. If you don't have a pre-trade routine that you do in the morning to get you centered before your trade session, add that in during this period and take that guidance that I've heard all of the coaches advise on. Take that literally and put it into your practice, because it can really help you be more focused. And so, you can adjust from your track record in a more steady place when your head and heart are ready to get back into this arena. You get into the basics of it. You want to build your accounts up more slowly, because if you do them, there's an urge, right? When you restart trading, you want to get back to the money that you had. You want to get back to the account status you had. If you were in payouts, you want to get back to payouts fast. You want to improve that drawdown so you can feel validated as a trader. But honestly, you guys, that's not the way. I shouldn't say it not, because maybe some people it is, but I think by and large, backing off the pressure as you ease back in, it's just easier, because you're not going to push yourself to the level where you might tilt as quicker. If you're having a higher numbers flashing on the screen and a higher hit, it's going to be at a greater risk for you to tilt during this period and to slide back into the habits that were dangerous for you before. And so by starting back slower, you can get your bearings again and execute your best trading setups more effectively. You can dissect them afterwards. You can have less carryover emotions. And so your whole life is going to be gentler as you get back into this. You can hear the lessons a little bit more powerfully. and then you can strengthen your best setups and learn other setups in this lower leverage situation, and your system will become more robust for doing this. So that's kind of the technical part of rebuilding, but you also have to do a mindset and emotional resilience back off and adjustment here. So you want to work here on separating your self-worth from your daily P&L, and then build some consistency rituals with what you do that gives you the best setup to be focused and calm, so that you can have losses, because you will have losses as a trader. Every trader does. But you want to not have them be, you want to not be so reactive to them, but instead just be level and control your response to trading in a way that doesn't damage your accounts or your energy. And then I know Coach Matt and Riz, I think, would have, like, they could kill it with this conversation with me. But I was thinking when I put all my thoughts together that I was going to have the hour. So more to come on this. But anyways, this emotional and mindset reset has to happen in confluence with the technical work, right? And so you want to do just as much energy on that. So journaling and having your attention on how you are feeling, how you executed, reasoning through your growth that you have done. And I would say that the truly successful traders, this has been the game changer for them, is when they got their emotions in check, and that they always respected their system and their process, and they didn't make emotional responses to the market. Instead, they dialed in and locked into their session. And so that brings you peace with this, and it makes trading feel less gambling and like an unknown, and you really hope you're going to have a win, versus being stable. And that can transform it into an actual career down the line, where you can really blossom into those bigger numbers that we all dream of. Okay, so I'm real glad you guys are here at Blue Sky, because I'm quite a fan of the coaches that I have been lucky enough to join, because I think that community and coaching is a very key part of pulling out of a slump. So accountability partnership or a small group is really powerful. And if everyone here doesn't have an accountability partner, I would encourage you to reach out. I believe there's even a space in the Blue Sky Discord. If you're looking for an accountability partner, you could post in there. But I would say even here, like if you notice someone is making comments during a live stream or one of these labs, and you're like, hey, I like their vibe, like I see this whole situation similar to them, reach out, like DM them and just be like, hey, we were in the same class today. I have similar thoughts. Like, how's your trading journey? And you would be surprised at how relationships can blossom with other traders who are doing what you're doing, who are attending classes and trading every day and trying to figure it out. If you can get a small core group of people around you that you can have these open conversations with, for me, that was a huge part of how I persevered as a trader, was being able to say when I felt like garbage, or maybe I had a liquid lunch, one or two of a really hard day, and not being afraid of that, and not being judged of, like, a school mom friend, I'm not sure that I would tell that to, but my accountability partner, I would. So I think creating that safe space and knowing who you can ask and knowing who understands this world more intimately than the outside world is going to be a game changer for having these conversations. And during the live streams, like I said before, every question I've ever seen asked within this Discord has been answered in pretty short order, if not during the live stream itself. And so I would just recommending using your coaches, because they are put in that role because maybe they've been doing a thing a little longer than you or have a different view of it. And so just voicing questions and getting the feedback can sometimes, like I said, get you to an aha moment that will change your situation. And it's not the fault of your outside friends who aren't traders that they can't be that person for you. They're just not, you don't understand trading unless you've done it. You guys know that. And so, yeah, I would definitely say reach out, because this is a serious, like, top hack for success in trading, is getting the right people in your day-to-day conversations when you're working through this. And then the last step, which I really like as a way to bring it all together, is reigniting your purpose. So it's the why behind we're trading. Like, trading sometimes can feel slightly masochistic when you're in the period where it's really hard, but what do you want from it? Like, what are you trying to build for your life? What if you didn't stop now, and in 5 years and in 10 years, what would you have created? And so then you can work back from that and bring it back to your current situation. I think that It's going to look different for all of us, what our biggest goals and dreams are, but this approach to pulling it to our current life is powerful. And I would encourage you guys to, don't think that this is a woo-woo, not a part of it, but to actually maybe even just in your quiet moments by yourself, either in the morning or your evening journal or meditation, what have you, in the shower even, just a quiet minute, just in your own mind, remind yourself of your why, that you're showing up for the effort and process and at times pain and patience and why it matters and how they're working together and what it's building. Because for me, I find this whole topic to be so grounding and calming. And it really kind of reminds me to be grateful for the opportunities that trading offers and that how I've been able to, put it into my life and know where I'm going, what I've built so far, and recognizing that, honestly, 4.5 years into my trading career, I'm still early in my trading career. I feel that with every ounce of my being, is that I'm 4.5 years into a 35-year career. And so what is this going to look like in another 4.5 years? It's exciting. And I have gotten to that point by pushing through almost a 2-year slump where I didn't know if I was going to make it. And now by putting one foot in front of the other and then remembering all these things, it has made it kind of exciting of recognizing where in 20 years what I would have built by kind of going through the mud right now of, figuring out what you need to learn, asking the questions, redoing it, surviving it, and pushing through to the other side. And so then the other side, right? The other side is the struggle. This I want you guys to think about. And any trader, throw some comments in there about what your experience has been with this in terms of what it's like to get on the other side of success. Because I love these points of when you've gotten there, you wake up and you're not panicked, but instead you know that you have a plan that you have spent years fine-tuning, and that's going to guide how you execute your day. And your self-worth isn't tied to today's P&L. You have, the people around you that you love, and you're going to kill it in life. And today's just going to be a day, no matter how the outcome is at the end of the day on the charts. You can trade smaller, calmer, sharper, recognize that you want to do the right leverage for the right trades, and that you don't have to throw everything you have at a trade because your system is building and it's working. You trust your data and your process. And so you're not hunting for the next big thing. Instead, you know that you've built what you've needed to build. So there's a piece there. You've built consistency, but not perfection. You're not hunting perfection. You're hunting to see your best setups and execute on them as your plan intends. And if they lose, they lose. And then you measure your success by execution quality more so than outcome. It's not so much about green or red at the end of the day. It's more so about, did I trade my system well and did I execute as I intended to? And that brings a positive close to your day. And then also you created time, mental freedom, emotional control, financial freedom. Trading has the potential down the line to create whatever you want out of this life. If you want trading to be your sole income, that can be your goal. If you want trading to fund another entrepreneurial pursuit or different ways of investing, or how you want to structure your entire approach to the finances for the rest of your life and your time commitment, you can structure that however you want. I had no idea I was going to create a podcast. But 2 years ago, it came to me that these conversations were part of who I am with my personality. And so it's just sort of ever evolving. But trading can be the backbone to however you want to design your life. And I like thinking about what it's going to look like when we push through this struggle and how generally peaceful that it feels just having this slide in our minds. It's like the rainbow. After you survive the storm, you've got a rhythm to it. And from my personal experience, and those that are more advanced than myself, that I am blessed to call my friends, I think what I have heard is that when you make it through your first several years in trading, success doesn't feel like a euphoria or wild profit days or the big, I'm going to buy a new Lambo based on how my week turned out. But more so what they say is that it feels like calm, like business. You are a day trader as a professional, and so you are constantly refining and adjusting your leverage. And Matt even said that today, Coach Matt, in the Power Hour, about how he structures it with different approaches to time frame and different ways that he works it. And I didn't get the energy from him that it was for the high of it. It was a business model that he structures from calm energy, and a trade that he's hunting. It's not set up yet, so he's not in it, but he has an idea of how he's going to approach it. And so it's not big waves anymore. It's executing your system well. You're not reacting, but you're responding and adjusting and growing and embracing who you are as a successful trader. And then you can kind of realize that it was never really the money that was the core of all of it, but it's more about stability, discipline, the identity that you build, the potential that you're amassing, the way the money is compounding and changing you and changing your view on your whole world and what you can do with it. And when I was pulling this presentation together this weekend, I came across something that said that trading is one of the most brutal mirrors you'll ever face in your life. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so true, right? It exposes every fear, every impulse, every trauma, every insecurity straight in your face. Like, you have to face it because you feel it in your heart, and that is what causes the trading slump. When you're in the depths of the hardest part, like, it's hard to face that. But I do think that if you really stick to it, if you stay through the hardest parts and you start to come out the other side, it does reshape you as a human. It reshapes you into something stronger, more patient, more grounded, definitely more emotionally intelligent, more emotionally aware. You learn how to lose, how to take the hits without breaking, with knowing how long you need to stay down after a hit and then getting back up slowly and stabilizing and figuring out what move you missed that made you take that hit and how you can adjust. And then you're not chasing so much anymore. You're learning and focusing and growing, and you're not trying to predict the market, but you're more so trying to dial in your system for the better outcomes to improve your probabilities. And so that is like kind of the main goal of how we get there. And then when you do that big picture shifting with your system, then profit is the byproduct. But you change who you are into the successful person, then your accounts just grow in that way, right? So I love the idea of, if you're in a slump, you're not broken, but you're being shaped. You're being taken apart in order to reframe and grow and become who you actually need to become for the longevity of it, because trading is a hard professional arena. Like, that's just the truth. I mean, the statistics page early in the presentation is the facts, but it's not impossible. And it's the people who show up to classes like this and who do the work, that is how you reshape and how you can pull out of this if your why and your dedication, has you holding to it. I think the overall trend of the market has been bullish since its inception, right? We've had some wicked pullbacks, though. I mean, can you imagine being a bull in some of the deepest of the recessions that we've had? Like, it's probably scary as hell. Get out. But it turned, it made a higher high after that. And that's the ebb and flow of the career of a trader too. This slump, it could be, I love this phrase, it could be your lowest low. It could be your key pivot point. That's something, if you ever watch Market Mamas, I try to ask every trader that I have on is, what did your lowest low look like? Because generally I'll bring on traders that have been trading longer than me, and so I love picking their brains. And every trader, I think, has a lowest low where they dealt with this. And what did you do to pivot from that? How did you bounce off that? Because trading is beautiful. There really isn't a ceiling. You can just keep breaking levels higher and higher. You can start figuring out how to compound, how to trade differently, how to get different trades on that are longer term while you're day trading. The potential is there, but you have to be able to pivot from the lows in order to reach it all. So I'm going to end on this last point, and then we'll just chat a little bit. But I mean, that Japanese proverb that I think everyone has kind of heard to some variation or otherwise, fall 7 times and stand up 8. That's basically just, you got to decide. The hits hurt, but what can you do with that? And can you keep getting up and take the lessons from the pain, and keep moving forward from there? And so I think, there's a lot of personal variability with this for everyone, but everyone has been there, is the moral of that. Everyone has experienced the really, really hard times if you're a trader, because it's just very hard. That's the honest truth. But I say you guys are here, so we keep getting back up and we keep learning together. And I apologize, you guys. I tried to keep up with the comments. A lot of them are really supportive of each other, and I really love that. I love the vibe here. And I didn't get it together. I'm so sorry to live stream this, but it is being recorded and it's going to be posted on YouTube at a minimum. And so when we get the recording up, hopefully in the next week here for sure, hopefully sooner. I'm getting quicker with all this stuff, you guys. I got to get it together here a little bit. But they're going to be posted just like Coach Matt's lives are. And so anyone has any questions for me, I'll answer them. If Coach Matt or Mike, anyone wants to pop in, I can chat. And yes, I will be here live every Tuesday at Market Close with a different topic every week. And again, thank you, RQ, for this conversation because you get to know a little bit more about me. But then also it's just a key conversation that is worth digesting and approaching.
You know, Becky, I've seen every one of your streams here at Blue Sky, and I've been impressed every single week. Yeah, I mean, you're just finding your groove a little bit more every single week. Thoroughly enjoyed this one here today as well. Does anybody have any questions for Becky on mindset, on anything we covered today? I just know I'm appreciative that you're a coach of Blue Sky and you bring this passion every single Tuesday. And if you want to be reminded, there is in the event calendar in Discord, you can click on the interested and get a gentle reminder every time Becky does go live on Tuesdays as well. But more than anything, just want to say great job. This is fantastic again.
Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you in all the ways. I mean, I've said it before too, but Coach Matt and Coach Riz have been so welcoming to me joining the team here at Blue Sky and don't even make fun of me when I ask questions literally every time I'm on the live stream because, you know, I've developed my niche with trading, but I know that there's, like I said, a ton more to learn. And so it's just been really a lovely environment to join into.
Honestly, Becky, I've always felt there's only one dumb question, and it's the question you never ask.
Yeah.
Everything else, we're all trying to get better. We all show up here every single day to try to get better. And what Mike has done is he's surrounded himself with a bunch of amazing traders, amazing educators that truly do have a desire to impart wisdom and knowledge on the Blue Sky community. And it's a joy. It truly is. But even though, you know, I've been doing this 20 years, I've been in every room around the world. And when I sit down and I listen to Becky talk, I learn. I learn. When I sit down and I listen to Mike talk, I learn. When I listen to Riz talk, I learn. And that's what the beautiful thing is. And I'm very appreciative of what Mike is doing with Blue Sky, and I'm very appreciative of what you bring here every single Tuesday, Becky. It's easy to support you when you see what you do. You do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I grew into it a little bit.
He does dumb questions, but he does it on purpose just to knock me off my edge. I know this. I know this.
That's good too, right? We can figure out when we're razzing you or if we're getting to the heart of something we need to understand.
Wants to get a nice little response.
Hey, see,
Keeps putting gold.
Having some humor in the community is also very valuable because humor has helped me.
Yeah. You gotta have fun.
Yes. Yeah. Trading days can get long, so it's good.
I got a question for you from DC. How did you all go about telling? I do know, Archie. How did you go about telling your family you trade? Becky, how did you go about telling your family that you trade? It's something that new traders sometimes have a hard time talking to their family members about, and rightly so. What about you?
Yeah. I didn't for a long time. I didn't tell my parents for many months, and then I eased it in, and they're like, "Why?" And it was hard, and I slowly told people, and okay, so, you know, you guys are going to learn that I don't filter very well, and I'll answer a question really authentically. And I feel like a lot of my friends that are nurse or mom friends, which is predominantly my friends outside of the trading world, are waiting for me to fail. And I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but they're just thinking I stepped out of the box, and that doesn't usually work. And so honestly, when they ask me how trading is going, I get the energy of like, they're so curious because people look at car accidents when you're driving by. And so I have got that vibe from people who aren't in the trading world. And so I just don't entertain it. I will keep my answers very short and brief of like, it's great. Thanks. Like, how's your kids? Because there's not going to be a depth of a conversation there that are actually really valuable to me or supportive to me or going to make me feel positive about what I'm doing with my life. But I know what I'm doing is right for me. And so that's just not the place to have the conversation.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I saw what Mike just put in there as well, and I agree with that. You know, it's one of those things where you tell your family members what you're doing, and you step outside the proverbial traditional box, and you're going to get some hate. It's going to happen. You're going to get hate from community, from society, from friends, a little bit of indifference. And you can look at it and you say they want you to fail. I don't know if they want you to fail more than they criticize themselves for not doing it.
Yes.
And so I kind of have a feeling that they're projecting on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can't let that stop you because they were raised in that traditional mindset and you were raised in that traditional mindset and you are the one breaking away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you break away from that, people are going to want to pull you back. They're going to want to have you stay in the same lane they are. And for people to do great things with their life, whether you're talking politically, economically, financially, spiritually, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to step up and do great things in your life, you kind of have to step outside the box a little bit. And that box that we put ourselves in, the traditional mindset, the traditional boxes we put ourselves in, go to school, get a job, work for 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life to take a 40% pay cut in your retirement. That's called the 40-40-40 plan. That is the traditional box that people are in. Mm-hmm. And so when you step outside of that, which that design will never allow you to retire, by the way, people pull you back. They fight you on that. But it's not, to me, at first, it wasn't, I took it very personal at first, but down the road, I started seeing it through a different lens. Because those same people that criticized me, family, friends, associates, you name it, those same people that criticized me when I said, I want to learn how to be a trader instead of learning how to be a lawyer, and this was after I graduated from law school, people thought I was crazy. But you know what? To do something outlandishly amazing in your life, you kind of have to have a little bit of crazy to step outside that box and do something great.
Yeah.
So, Becky, I'm hearing that commonality from you. I know that was with Mike. I know that was with Riz. And that's that commonality in all of us because we have family and friends and associates and community members that truly do care about us, but don't understand what we're trying to do. Those same people that criticize me are the exact same people that ask me for hot tips today.
Yeah.
And I usually give them one that is 5 days late just to teach them a very valuable lesson. But you do get my point.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And Nacho talking about blue collar workers, my father is a tool and die maker and my mom is mostly a homemaker. And so they think that I am literally ridiculous. Like last year, side note, my parents' dream was always to go on an Alaskan cruise and they were never going to do it. They didn't have the funds to do it. And so last year I just booked it and told them when they were going, their health is starting to diminish, and I booked it for my family and my parents exclusively with trading profits. And I told them this. I was like, this is a gift. Like, I just want you guys to experience this. You've been talking about it since I was a small child, and you're never going to, it hasn't been a priority yet. So anyways, I took them on this trip, 7-day cruise to Alaska, and not one single time on the entire trip did they ask me deeper about my trading, my career, my growth, the podcast. Like, it's so uncomfortable for them. They don't understand it. They don't know why I'm making money. They're not sure if they should believe in me or encourage me to stop. It's wild to me. Even like people that are my parents are like, and even gifting this whole trip, it's still, people cannot understand it. And so that's why a big part of this was like leaning into small groups, accountability partners, and coaching, because it's just not, they're not going to have your back. They don't even, it's hard for them to even hear it. Like one time I was at this trading party or this nursing party with the coworkers a couple months ago, and everyone was having some beverages. And one of my girlfriends, a close friend I've been friends with for 10 years, was a little bit drunk. And she was like, you're the one who made it out. And she's like, no one ever makes it out. Like, we get back injuries. We get, punched by patients. We get the 40-40-40 is exactly the truth of that type of work. And it was like, that was a core truth, like people don't think that they can do it. And so why try? And what's working is working well enough. It's just such an interesting topic that it's why we need to have these conversations. That's why I'm so grateful to have yet another opportunity to bring out these conversations. So thank you again, Mike, because it's so supportive in this world of day trading to have these conversations in real time, in real talk, authentically. Like I'm happy to be a vector for that.
Well, it's even hard to talk about people outside of a trade as somebody that understands trading because it's about comparing apples and oranges. They see it through the traditional lens. You see it through a vastly different lens. What I've always said is call them family, but go get better friends.
Yeah.
I kid a little bit. I still have some high school friends that I love very dearly. But you get my point. Like, traders are going to want to talk to traders.
Well, it's just a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's if you really want
to explain the terminology to somebody, it's like, go to class. Like, then let's talk.
Yeah.
Come to my lab, and then let's talk.
Right. Get a view of it. If you want to like be a part of this conversation, like let's really have a conversation. Like let's go out for a couple hours. Yeah. I want to try and answer all the questions because Matt, you do such a better job of that. And there was a question about what to do if you're tilting in a certain moment. And just to quick spend a minute on that so I don't feel like I'm not doing it. But I think having the risk parameters on your account is essential. I'm not going to lie. Like Blue Sky Project X has a great opportunity of you saying my daily loss limit is this. And if you're a person who struggles with tilt sometimes, having that parameter on your accounts where if you have a loss day, it just says no more trading today. I'm sorry, better luck next time. Your account is safe. For me, that has been something that I've had to almost like a hard pill to swallow, but I put it on my accounts because it keeps me safe. It keeps me in the game. And so it basically declines a tilt. I mean, sure, you can open up another account and do something over there, but I would encourage you when you have a rational brain to set those filters on your account to protect you, because if you didn't see the market clearly, your trade lost, you hit your max daily draw, go for a walk, do something else with your day. You can't tilt per se, and then you can try again when your next opportunity comes the next day. And so that does it allows you to stay in the game longer, allows you to hemorrhage money at a different rate completely, if at all, because it just says, this journey, this account, this compounding financial outcome you're trying to get is not going to be achieved in one day. And if you had a loss, it doesn't have to be fixed in one day either, which the fix it urge is strong. It's strong for me too. So just a little moment on that question. That is one literal hard stop that can be really helpful.
I think rules are there for a reason.
Yeah.
They're good. It's not bad. They force you to stay consistent.
Yeah, it's helpful. And then you're developing the emotional resilience as you grow as a trader, and it gets easier over time. You guys, thank you so much for having me at Blue Sky and for showing up for this conversation.
This is such a cool community. You guys, honestly, Becky, and I'll just say my final thoughts and then leave it to you to kind of turn off. But
perfect.
I just want to say thank you to the Blue Sky community out there. You guys are what makes this amazing. You guys coming here, supporting Becky, coming to my lab on Thursdays, supporting Riz during the daily streams. You guys are what makes Blue Sky amazing. And I just want to say thank you to the team and the community for coming here and constantly trying to get better, embracing the education plus application mindset. It's a beautiful thing, and I just wanted to say thanks to the great Blue Sky community for always supporting us when we're going live on streams and whatnot. You guys are the best. With that said, come join me on Thursday. We're doing the third and final section on swing trading, and we're going to be talking about targeting techniques on Thursday. Technically, obviously, Thursday session is all about technical analysis, so come join me on Thursdays right after the market closes as well. With that said, Becky, why don't you go ahead and send us off here tonight?
Thanks, Matt. And yes, I have attended all of your sessions as well, and they're really powerful. Actually, me and a very good friend, we're cycling back through all of your classes because we're newer around Blue Sky, and it's very, very powerful stuff. And so I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful to be learning from Coach Matt and Riz and finding my footing here. And for you guys that showed up today and giving this feedback, like I'm so grateful for you all as well. Please do, message me, add comments here, help giving me tips on what to bring for topics week over week. And then I do record them all. Last week's was recorded, today is recorded, and we're going to get them posted on the Blue Sky YouTube channel. For sure. And then when they do go live later this week, both of those will be up, and we'll post them in the Discord chat where you can find them. So you can find them and share them with a friend if you feel like this is a good conversation for someone else or you want to listen back. And I really agree. Thank you so much for having this opportunity in this community, because finding strong, supportive communities who speak our language is key to all of this. So thank you for being mine now as well, and have a great evening, everyone. I really appreciate you all, and everyone at the team at Blue Sky that came today as well. Thanks.
You're amazing, Becky. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in Riz's stream tomorrow and then the lab on Thursday. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Yes. Take care. Bye.
Bye.